Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Kyou Japan podcast. This is Nick Overacker and
Tyler.
We're here to talk about festivals. Lots of festivals. Okay, Tyler, you take it from here.
Okay, yeah. Today we are going over festivals, as Nick said, and all kinds of festivals. What are Japanese festivals? When are Japanese festivals? What takes place at a Japanese festival? So we can start off with the most fun topic, food. What do you think of food, Nick?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of food, and actually that's part of what inspired this episode. I just went to the grocery store, found Japanese sweet potato, and I thought, oh man, that makes me think of street food back in Japan. Brought it back home, we baked it, we ate it. It wasn't the same kind we thought it was, but yeah, one of them is one of the things that you can find everywhere is a Japanese sweet potato. It's baked and it's delicious. Just cooked by itself, eat it by itself. Purple on the outside, yellow on the inside. But that's just one of many, many great street and festival foods that you can find in Japan. What was your favorite, Tyler?
Ooh, my favorite was definitely the fried squid.
Yeah, I think the first time I had fried squid was actually when you bought it at Onbashira.
Yeah.
That's one of the festivals, and we'll get to that later. As for me, I really think it was taiyaki.
The taiyaki is a classic, and it's a Nawate Dori special.
Yeah. So taiyaki is it's basically two fish-shaped pancakes, kind of, fried, and in the middle, or oh wait, no, it's one. Okay, I was thinking of two different things, but okay, let's go back to this. Taiyaki is like a fish-shaped pastry almost. It's filled with something. The traditional filling. Oh, continue.
You can kind of think of it as two pancakes.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, two halves smashed together.
I think sometimes they do make it like that, like the ice cream ones.
Yeah, the ice cream is actually what I was thinking of when I said that.
Yeah. So sometimes it is made like that.
Yeah. What was traditional filling for that? Was it it was anko, which is a sweet red bean paste. But I usually went for one that was actually filled with a hot dog, a sausage, and some kind of a creamy sauce around it. Maybe that's just me being American, but it tasted really good, really savory.
I really liked the classic anko and the custard. The custard was really good too.
I think the custard was just a little bit too eggy for me.
I like eggy. Eggy's good.
Eggy is good for me in certain contexts, but when it's a creamy thing, a creamy filling, for me, I just like it to be either savory or sweet, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Go
on.
Earlier we were kind of arguing about the difference of, does Japan actually have street food, or is it more like festival food like we have? Because some of these things you can get like on the side of the street, but some of them you can only get at festivals, like the fried squid I mentioned. I've only ever seen at festivals, but the taiyaki I've seen at multiple street locations.
Yeah, I haven't seen fried squid anywhere but at festivals. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some part of Japan that's particularly famous for fried squid, and maybe you can get it year round there. But it's probably primarily a festival food. But yeah, it can also depend on where you are. Like in Matsumoto, where we studied, if you wanted to find takoyaki on the street, you'd be waiting for a festival. But if you were in Osaka, it's everywhere on the street. You just go up to a takoyaki stand and buy it. Oh, takoyaki, by the way, is a fried octopus, and it's very good. It's breaded. It has fillings and toppings and all kinds of different flavors.
Honestly, the octopus is a very small part of it. It's mostly about the breading and the filling.
Yeah, you could really just take out the octopus, and maybe some people wouldn't notice. It just adds kind of a little bit of texture.
I've seen Japanese people take out the octopus in it and just because they don't like octopus, they just eat the takoyaki without the octopus in it.
So if takoyaki is if taco is octopus and they take out the octopus, then I guess it's just yaki at that point.
Everything's yaki.
That's true. Like that fried squid was ikayaki. And then the the thing I was talking about is taiyaki. I don't know what tai means though.
Me neither.
Maybe it's a kind of fish.
Could be.
But yeah, I think the variety of takoyaki, fried octopus in Osaka was pretty impressive. I really like the lemon pepper takoyaki. I think that.
Yeah, they have all kinds of different flavors of takoyaki. And another good way to know what takoyaki is, if you don't know, is it's actually in a lot of anime. You ever watch Japanese anime? It's the round ball things that they eat with chopsticks.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll find it. Sometimes you'll see it pierced through with a skewer. I think I've seen that as an emoji a few times at least. I have a pen that's shaped like skewered takoyaki. But normally you'll be eating it with chopsticks. So yeah, a lot of good street food and festival food, of course. And there's one thing that you're always going to see at festivals. That's a karaage, Japanese fried chicken.
Yeah, karaage is always at festivals, but it's also like a restaurant food too. It's kind of very popular dish in Japan. I mean, it's fried chicken. Who doesn't like fried chicken?
Yeah.
But the Japanese style is very unique. It's like very juicy on the inside and has a special breading. I don't know. How would you describe it, Nick?
Let's see. Maybe the closest thing that American people might be really familiar with is maybe Chick-fil-A. It's similar to that in juiciness, but I think it might be a little crispier on the outside.
Yeah, it's definitely crispier, and I personally like it a lot more than Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it also tends to be, I mean, often it's seasoned in a certain way too, I think. It really adds to it. And yeah, at festivals, you'll find a lot of variations on this. Like you might find that a stand like I found where they have a lot of different seasonings that you can add to it. I actually got karaage with chocolate syrup on it, and surprisingly, it was really good.
Really? Where'd you get that at?
That was at Tai Matsumatsuri, the smoke festival in Matsumoto.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. That's something we should add to the list of Matsuri to talk about, festivals.
Yeah, we'll go over that festival in a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's think of a few more of the more interesting festival foods while we're at it, while we're on this topic. One is a castella, which is kind of a, how do you describe it?
Are you talking about like the spongy cake thing?
Not so much the spongy ones. The ones that are crispy on the outside. It's like a crispy breading on the outside, and it's shaped into usually kind of an anime character like Doraemon or something like that.
Oh,
and on the inside is a sweet cream filling. Yeah,
those are always there. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean you can just kind of snack on those for a long time. They're all bite size and very good. Now I'm really missing a lot of festival food at Japan from Japan.
There's usually some sort of crepe at festivals.
Oh, yes, crepes.
Japanese are very big on crepes. They really like crepes.
Yeah, for me, I mean, maybe it was from that movie. What was it called? I saw it one time. Was it called Talladega Nights or something like that?
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights. Yeah, I saw that one time, and I just remember the French guy breaking or threatening to break this guy's arm. I don't remember if he did it or not. He was telling him to say, "I like crepes." and that's where I learned crepes were basically like little tiny pancakes, maybe even better than pancakes, but really thin pancakes. um, and that's the image I had of crepes, just really thin pancakes, and that's what they are, yeah. But they eat them in a completely different way. They roll them up in a cone and fill them up with something. This might be old hat for people who eat crepes regularly. I don't know, but I never saw them like that before I went to Japan.
Yeah, I didn't see them eating like that until I went to Japan. Like even when I ordered them in America, they're like flatter, rolled into like a small quarter shape with fruit on it, or they eat it completely differently in Japan. I don't know if that's normal or not, but that's
yeah. It's almost like an ice cream cone filled with something. Sometimes ice cream, actually.
They got anywhere from like chocolate chip ice cream crepe to pizza crepe.
Oh yeah. I don't think I ever had the pizza crepe, but I should have. I'll do that next time.
I haven't, but I saw it on the menu.
Oh yes, the menus are crazy. They're really intimidating because there's about 100 items on the menu, and you're in line and reading this in Japanese, and it's like, oh, okay, I got to decide on something fast.
So the next and it's only crepe menus that do that. Like for some reason, crepe menus have hundreds of different choices.
Yeah, a lot of them are just slightly different from another one. It's like, oh, this is one with banana and chocolate. This is one with banana and, I don't know, strawberry. Those are pretty big differences, I guess. But
this is one with banana and a little less chocolate than the previous one.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but not too far off, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, if you ever go to Japan, if you first off look for a festival, you can find them everywhere. We're going to get to that soon. But the food is something that you won't find, for the most part, anywhere else. It's great. It's not. I mean, we have some nice things that you just have to try once and never try again, like say fried Twinkies or fried Twix, as I've had before. But those are things that's like you take a bite of it, it's like America, and that's why you're eating it. But it's stuff at Japanese festivals. It's just actually really good. You can crave it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience in Japan. And if you ever see one, just make sure to get some food. Like most things are around 500 yen. That's kind of the average price at these, which is about $5. Yeah.
So that can be kind of expensive. But if you're going to a festival and don't plan on spending any money, don't go to a festival. You're not properly enjoying it.
Yeah, spend money or else you won't enjoy it.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, let's go over some of the festivals we've experienced.
Yeah.
You want to go over the one we mentioned earlier, the Taimatsuri?
Yeah. Taimatsuri. Let's see. That was in the fall, I believe. Yeah, it's early fall in Matsumoto City, and the setup of this festival is that there's giant pyres of straw, I believe, and they set them on fire. They're huge, they're heavy, and they're smoking now that they're on fire, and you're pulling them with a lot of other people down the streets with ropes. It gets pretty exhausting, pretty smoky, but it's.
Did you actually end up pulling one?
Oh yeah, I helped pull.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't get to do that. I was on the side recording the event.
Oh yeah. Well, I eventually let go of the rope and let other people take over because I couldn't breathe, I couldn't see. You're carrying this thing to a temple, and I don't know what it represents. I'm sure it all represents something, but there are a lot of these pyres of hay that are probably about 10 feet tall or something, being pulled to this temple and then burnt, just being left there to burn completely. It's uphill too, so
you're pulling it up a mountain.
Yeah, everything.
You don't go all the way up the mountain, but you go pretty far.
Yeah, and it's. Oh, go on.
They take the ashes from this and they mix it with water and they rub it all over their face during this event.
Oh yeah.
And it's supposed to like keep diseases away from you for the year, keep you from getting sick for the rest of the year until the next festival, because it's an annual festival.
Yeah.
So if you end up going to this festival, there is a good chance the people that are carrying it will just randomly walk over and rub ashes all over your face, and it's all in good fun.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Enjoy.
You just might be in the shower for a while that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great experience. And then right outside I said temple, I think, but we took it to a shrine. And right outside the shrine is all the festival stands with all that great festival food and lots of festival games like shooting galleries and stuff. And of course, the goldfish catching games. And something that really struck me about festivals in Japan, we'll get to this later, but the games are actually fair, unlike here, and we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah,
that later.
That's a good point.
Yeah, right.
So
now,
let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, let's just talk about a few different festivals we've been to. Give you an idea of the variety here. So let's see. I think a good next one would be Firefly Festival.
Okay, yeah, the Firefly Festival kind of differs from the one we just talked about in the case. It's kind of a smaller festival.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of in a small town, but yeah, it's like in the middle of the nowhere, but it's probably like the most visitors this place gets because it's a somewhat famous festival because it's a huge group of fireflies like come out and it's for mating, I think. Is that why they're coming out? Do you
Probably.
remember? He explained it, but it was all in Japanese, so it's kind of hard to follow.
Yeah, I think that's probably it because I think that fireflies only light, they only glow for a really short period of their lives, like the last part of their lives. And I believe the glowing is to attract mates. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's why they do that.
I'm pretty sure they all drop dead shortly after you visit. Kind of sad now.
In a way, we're kind of going there to celebrate their death.
Yeah.
But no, there's just this creek-like thing that goes through the city, and they turn off all the lights, and all you can see are just tons of fireflies like floating up and down in this foliage above the creek, and it's really beautiful, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen fireflies out here in Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is really the first place I've ever seen fireflies. I lived in California for a good part of my life, but I've never seen quite so many in one place at once as this festival. Now I'm remembering that when the festival came around in 2016, when we were there, a lot of our classmates actually went to see the festival, skipped class.
Yeah, I remember that.
In fact, I remember Sato Sensei was even, looking out the door, and he saw them all gathered outside. He was waiting for them to come to class, but they never came. They just left. But it kind of backfired on them because it poured that night. There was just huge rainstorm, and there were no fireflies. It was just wet.
Didn't they couldn't take the train either, right?
I don't know that much about it. I remember they got rained out.
They had to walk for hours in the rain, if I remember correctly.
Oh man, that's great. I feel bad for them, but that's great.
That's a great story.
It's kind of karma.
I don't feel very bad. But anyway, yeah, that was the Firefly Festival, and that festival as well had all the great food that we talked about previously, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm trying to save the most exciting festivals, at least in my memory, last year. But now we have a few really exciting ones left to talk about.
I'll hit up this Taiko Festival is one that I went to recently.
Okay.
And It's in the city of Suwa in Nagano. They have this
Yeah.
annual big taiko festival where, if you don't know what taiko is, it's the Japanese drums, very famous, and range in various sizes, but these drums are actually in almost every festival, but this festival is just specifically taiko festival. There's probably well over 100 people playing drums, and they're all playing the same song at the same time, and
Yeah.
it's really something else. It's very fun to see and listen to.
Oh yeah, and the thing about taiko is you can't just watch a video and feel, get the feel of it, because you watch the video, you hear what it sounds like, but when you're at a taiko festival, when you're at a taiko performance, you actually feel it with your whole body.
There's so much
amazing
energy poured into it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's physical. I mean, you feel the vibrations at your feet. It reverberates through your body. It's an experience you can't get by watching a video. You have to be there. Although watching the video gives you some rough idea of what it might be like.
Gives you an idea of what to expect, but it's still doesn't compare to anything to seeing it in person.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's an awesome feeling, awesome experience. And my first experience with that was actually the taiko club here at OSU. They were kind of what gave me an idea of what to expect in Japan. But in Japan, it's just the groups are so much bigger. The drums are so much bigger. The coordination is incredible because they've been doing this their whole lives.
Taiko. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We could talk about Matsumoto Bonbon, or we could talk about Onbashira Matsuri. Which one do you think should be saved for last out of those two?
Let's do Onbashira last, because it's only done every 6 years.
All right. Yeah. And it was kind of a sad note on that one. So we'll end it with Bonbon. Onbashira Matsuri is every 6 years, but they'll tell you, the Japanese people will tell you it's every 7 years because of a quirk of old-fashioned Japanese counting.
Yeah. I still get it mixed up if it's actually 6 or 7 sometimes.
It's 7 because the old-fashioned counting includes the year it occurred on and the following year it occurs on. So it adds one. Kind of like the way that age is counted in Korea and old Japan. You count the year you were born in as well. So it's once every 6 years. They have this enormous festival that spans, I think, about a month or two. It's in small installments. It's not like constant festival. But they go up into the mountains outside of this town. I'm trying to remember what the name of the actual town with the shrine is. I went to Chino, but I think it kind of merges with the other town. I'll say Chino.
Oh man, I was just there recently. Let's go with Chino.
Yeah. Okay, so they go up into the mountains and chop down enormous trees, like I don't know, 3.
Nagano is kind of famous for these trees. These trees are huge.
Yeah, extremely tall. And they chop them down and they ride them down mountains. And like it slides down the mountain. People are sitting on the tree, riding it down, and then over the course of the span of this festival, they also ride it across a river, and they take it all the way through town to the other side of town where there's a shrine. It's as always on a mountain. Not very high in the mountain, thankfully, but it is uphill.
You can go YouTube this, just Onbashira Festival, and you'll see videos of a bunch of Japanese dudes riding a giant log down a mountain, and it's kind of crazy. Not just kind of, it's very crazy.
Yeah, and then they take it up to the shrine, and then they lift up these logs and set them in front of the shrine, so replacing the old logs from 6 years ago. And they've been doing this for over 1,000 years.
Yeah, forever. It's a super old traditional festival.
Yeah, and it's pretty incredible. And also, very dangerous.
Yeah, I think the only reason it's still going is because of how old and traditional it is.
Yeah, but people do die at these festivals quite often, actually. And while we were there, someone died while our back was turned. Someone fell from one of these trees, and we didn't see him falling, but I think you heard the thud, right?
I definitely heard the thud. Yeah, I turned around like, what was that? And then I heard the ambulance and saw the ambulance, and everybody was running to it, and it was kind of surreal. But we did. Yeah. He wasn't dead at that time, but he did later die that night.
Yeah, he died that night. So yeah, and out of the records I could find, it looked like, if I remember right, as long as these recent records went back, and it was only a few decades, about 2 out of every 3 times someone dies. And it's often at that part where they're lifting up the trees and people are riding the tree on the top of the tree as it's being planted in front of the temple or shrine. I keep saying temple. There is a difference. Yeah, temples are Buddhist, shrines are Shinto.
Yeah, they do seem very similar though.
Yeah.
But yeah, people volunteer and are super excited to be a part of this Onbashita festival, even though people die very regularly. Yeah,
I think that man that died was I'm reaching way back, almost 2 years in my memory, but I believe that he was 40 years old, somewhere around 40. So it wasn't really that old either. I just had to see that cut short. But that's the risk. That's a risk they know they take. Anyway, let's move on to Matsumoto Bonbon. Okay. Before we do that, though, let me say, if you are in Nagano Prefecture in year, let's say 2022, I believe that's when it will occur again, go to Onbashita Matsuri. You probably won't see someone die. Because, well, for one thing, it doesn't happen every year. And for one thing, this thing lasts a long time and you're not likely to be there at that moment. And it's an incredible thing to see and incredible thing to take part in.
And it only happens every 6 years, like we said. So if you have a chance, please see it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're moving on to Matsumoto Bonbon, which is a kind of a festival from our town, Matsumoto.
Yeah, it's like the festival of Matsumoto. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very simple to describe. There's a bunch of people. There's a ton of people in Matsumoto at this time. Yeah. And everyone gets in their little group, a group that participates in it. Like we were the foreign exchange students group when we participated. And you go in this basically a loop downtown dancing to the Matsumoto Bonbon song for 3 hours.
It's a long time.
I'm pretty sure it's 3 hours. You dance for 3 hours straight with like 10-minute breaks on occasion.
Yeah, wait for water.
Yeah, even though most Japanese people just drink beer on these breaks, I don't know how they do it. There's no way I was drinking alcohol when I was sweating that bad and it was that hot.
Yeah, and this dance also involved a lot of jumping.
Yes,
is very physically exhausting. And then after that, we're going back to class. I think it was. Did we have any more classes after that, or was it just exams?
I think it might have been completely over, honestly.
Huh. Maybe. I remember going up the stairs or something in the classroom building.
It was after presentations because I remember Jordan missed it, remember?
That's true. Okay. Well, I'm just remembering, it must have been the following semester. Just, kind of a reference to it and not actually an effect of it. So
this actually takes place the weekend as soon as the university there gets out.
Yeah. So I remember that whenever Enki and I were going up the stairs in the classroom building, we just kind of hummed that song, Matto Moto Bon Bon Shiro no Machi, because we're looking up 4 or 5 flights of stairs and it's just exhausting. It reminded us of school.
You just sing a song that reminds you of being exhausted. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, it's quite a workout getting through that whole festival, Matsumoto Bon Bon.
Oh yeah, but it was great. Yeah, we go through dancing very poorly with 2 fans, and you use these fans of the dance, and I used it so much that the label on my fan fell off from being flapped around too much. Like the paper on one side came off.
Yeah,
but I brought back lots of spares.
But yeah, it was a super fun festival.
Yes, and I believe that a lot of towns have their own kind of town festival, kind of like that. I don't know if they usually involve dancing like that, but
yeah, most towns have like their signature festival of the year.
Yeah, so if you're going to travel to Japan, or if you're going to Japan for study or anything like that, definitely look up the festivals for the town you're going to or the neighboring towns, and try to align your schedule with one of them. Try to go to them, because it's incredible, and their festivals happen all the time. There's probably a festival within walking or bus or train distance every day, if you look hard enough. There's going to be festivals all over the place all year round.
Yeah, and so try to find someone that's a local where you're at and become friends with, because if you do, they'll know like about a lot of festivals around there. Because I got lucky where my tutor at Shinshu University knew a lot of the goings-ons around Matsumoto where we stayed. And he took me to this crazy festival where they built giant floating boats out of just nothing but wood and old clothing, and they just ran them into each other and crashed them as they played music from the inside. It was crazy.
That sounds incredibly safe.
Yeah, as you can tell, there's a recurring theme in these of safety.
Oh yeah, safety first. How does it go? Anzen daiichi.
But yeah, you'll never hurt. I never would have been able to go to an awesome, crazy festival like that if I didn't make friends with a local Japanese person who knew about it.
Oh yeah, where was that festival?
It was near the town that we taught that English class at. Do you know where that is?
Ooh,
what was that?
It's the suburb of Azumino.
Okaya?
Okaya. Okay, yeah, Okaya's in that direction.
I think it was in Okaya. Yeah, it's kind of a smaller town, but it has a really nice shrine there, and that's where it was.
Huh. Yeah. A lot of these festivals are associated with some shrine. I don't know if there are any festivals are associated with temples very often. So yeah, a lot of these have kind of a Shinto aspect to them.
Yeah.
So let's see what we have kind of a list of things that we want to talk about, but a lot of them end up being kind of integrated into what we were already saying.
Yeah, it kind of naturally came along.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, there were several times when we would just be walking around and then happen upon a festival. Like one time we went to a restaurant, Kano, and we walked out and saw, oh, hey, there's a festival at this temple down there. Or
the festival next door.
There was a temple around there too, but it was at a shrine. So we went there.
These festivals really range in a huge variety of sizes. Like this one was just a tiny little festival at a small shrine. But like Onbashida is a gigantic festival that brings everyone
Takes up the
across
whole
the
town.
country there. It brings people from outside of Japan to come see it.
Yeah.
But there's always random festivals going on, and if you stay in Japan for any length of time, you'll probably run into a random festival. There's a good chance of it.
Yeah. Oh, and that one festival was actually the first one where I played a game, the shooting gallery, the shooting range game. And like I was saying before, the games there are actually really fair. In fact, I believe that they actually want you to win. They're not trying to cheat you out of your money, not trying to find an easy mark. I'm, holding this court gun and aiming with it at my shoulder, and the person at the counter tells me, "Oh, you can reach over the counter." And my reach is so long that I can practically touch the object I'm trying to shoot off. So that didn't feel right to me. So I held it at my shoulder.
It's more fun to shoot from afar as well. So
yeah, and it shoots perfectly straight. It doesn't shoot off at an angle or anything like that. It shoots perfectly straight with decent amount of force. You're going to have a hard time knocking over some of the objects, but the things I was aiming at, I got no problem. Got a Pac-Man lighter and some candy and a Kinder egg, which is apparently banned in America, but it's a chocolate egg filled with a toy on the inside. Banned due to choking hazard here.
I don't believe anyone has choked on it before.
Nope. I heard of. I looked into it a little bit, and it turns out someone has choked on the toy after it was taken out of the egg, but never while it was in the egg. And that's just a matter of infants putting small objects in their mouths.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether it was in an egg or not.
Well known.
Yeah. And I guess before we wrap up completely, we can mention some of the other festival-like events there are that aren't quite festivals, like the crafts fair. It was in Matsumoto. It's the largest crafts fair in the country. It brings in people as far north as Hokkaido, the northmost island, and as far south as Okinawa, which I don't know for sure that that's the southernmost island, but it's the biggest island in the south, in the far south, pretty close to Taiwan.
It's a very big crafts fair, but it is kind of festival-ish, but not exactly a festival. Like you don't see all the food stands and tents. It's more of like a food truck thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were food trucks, and that blew my mind because you don't see food trucks in Japan very often.
So that was cool.
And the other festival fair that was kind of like that we went to was the book fair.
That
I can't even remember what that lake was called that we went to, but that was pretty great.
I keep wanting to say it was Suwa Lake, but it wasn't Suwa Lake.
Yeah, it wasn't Suwa. It was a much smaller, lesser known lake, and much more natural surroundings. No buildings for the most part, just trees. And I remember there was a Dr. Pepper machine that had no Dr. Pepper in it. But Dr. Pepper is really rare in Japan. So I got excited when I saw this. I'm feeding it my money, and it's just feeding it back to me. There's no Dr. Pepper, but every button on it was Dr. Pepper. They had little anime figurines in there posing with the Dr. Pepper bottles.
I remember that. That was funny.
It was just rubbing it in my face. I wanted Dr. Pepper really badly.
Well, any closing remarks, Nick?
All I can say is if you go to Japan and you don't go to a festival, you haven't been to Japan. Festivals are a big part of the Japanese experience.
Your experience in Japan doesn't count unless you get to a festival.
Yeah, and like I said before, if you go to a festival but don't plan to spend money, don't go. So if you're not going to spend money at a festival, don't go to Japan is what I'm saying.
Yes, there's a lot to keep in mind here.
Yes, very important life tips here. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up shorter than we usually do. And we haven't quite worked out what our formula is for this podcast. So we're hoping that as we start to get listeners, you can let us know. Do you like the longer episodes? Do you like the shorter ones? Do you like the guests? Do you like us? I hope you like us. But just leave a comment. Send us hate mail. We want it all.
Yes, please. And even if you listen to this, please tell us. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. And we will either take your advice under consideration or completely ignore you. But we'll probably take your advice under consideration, and we're going to keep making these podcasts for the foreseeable future. We're going to keep this up as long as we can, whether you listen or not.
It will be here, listen or no listen.
All right. So thank you, and tune in next week for episode 4, Topic Undecided. Have a great day/night/ whatever time you're listening to this. And
yes, have a great one of those. Oh. And if you go to Japan, enjoy your festival.
All right. Bye.